Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the third of four divisional round playoff game matchups that I'll just be discussing, and it's the Browns versus the Chiefs. There's been a lot of attention to this one, a lot of, I think it's been one of the more talked about ones actually. You've seen a lot of, I'm sure you've seen a lot of the highlights of when Mahomes and Mayfield played in college, where that game was 66-50, whatever. Very amazing game. I don't expect that to happen here, but that was still an amazing game. I'm sure you've seen a lot of stuff for that. But we're talking NFL matchups where it's the Browns and the Chiefs. And I think I'm going to try and go really quick with this because the game's going to start pretty soon. But quick summary of what I do. Thought process, is it always coherent? No. But yeah, I just go over why I think the Chiefs or the Browns will win, the Chiefs will win, why I think the Browns will lose, why I think the Chiefs will lose. So let's get right into it. The Browns have started fast, specifically fairly recently. In all of 2020, they averaged 15 points per game in the first half, which is not bad. That's it's one of the better. It's towards the top. It's eighth in the league, and then they average. Then they in the last three games, they've averaged 16, which puts them sixth in the league. But against the Steelers, 35 points in the first half. They can start fast. That's the thing with the Browns. They can start fast. Led by Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Another reason they're rushing game. Against the Steelers, these two had great games. Nick Chubb, 18 carries, 76 yards with a 4.2 average. Kareem Hunt, 8 yards, 8 carries, 48 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a 6-yard average. Both of them we know can be dominant. Okay, Nick Chubb, one of the best running backs in the NFL, and Kareem Hunt is not far behind him. These are two of the better running backs in the NFL on the same team. This rushing game is amazing, and it should be their primary focus of attack for the Browns this game. The other thing, they just don't turn the ball over. They only averaged 0.9 turnovers per game, which is fourth in the league. 0.5 interceptions per game, fourth in the league, and 0.4 fumbles lost per game. That's tied for sixth in the game. They don't turn it over. Like, this has been one of Baker's better years of keeping the ball on offense. Like, he's thrown his least amount of interceptions, I believe. Don't actually know for sure, but one of his better years in terms of turnovers. And of course, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, they don't fumble. Okay, what can we do on defense? Well, they can get pressure on Mahomes. Myles Garrett has 12 sacks in 2020, and Olivier Vernon with 9. He's not playing though, but Sheldon Richardson from the defensive tackle, 4.5 sacks, not bad. And the entire D line has combined for 31.5 sacks, which is extremely good. But yeah, that would be the reasons why the Browns will win. But why would the Chiefs win? Well, it's you don't have to look too far in order to see a reason why they win. Patrick Mahomes, 4,740 yards, 66.3% completion percentage, 336.5 yards per game, 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 108.2 rating. That's all insane numbers. He's number 2 for MVP voting, I believe. I think he's commonly considered as the runner-up for the MVP, behind Aaron Rodgers, who had insane numbers. But yeah, Patrick Mahomes has played insane this year. Like, those numbers are second in his career, behind his MVP season, where he had 5,000 yards, 50 touchdowns. That year was insane. But he can also make plays on the ground. 62 carries this year for 308 yards, which is an average of 5 yards per carry, and 2 touchdowns. So he can make things happen on the ground. But in the air, you got to have some solid receivers, and he does. Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill combined 2,692 yards. That's over half of Mahomes' total yards, 192 catches, 26 touchdowns out of Mahomes' 38 touchdowns, and combined they have 43 plays of 20-plus yards. Those are amazing numbers. And if we want to look at yards individually, Travis Kelce finished second in the NFL in yards, and Tyreek Hill finished 8th. These two are dynamic, they're explosive, and two of the best receivers I know Kelsey's a tight end, but two of the best people who catch the ball. Anyway, what about their ground game? How good is that? Well, it's not bad. It's what you would kind of expect from a team that throws 4,749 yards in the air. Okay, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, the rookie, had an amazing start to the year. He did kind of leveled out, and he ended up averaging 61.8 yards per game, which is not bad, especially considering they brought Le'Veon Bell on, who averaged 28.2 yards per game. So about that was 90 yards per game between the two of them, which is very good considering 336 and 37 yards come from the air. So 460 yards total, or 420 yards total. Sorry, that's not bad. This running game can have. Plus, you have Mahomes' ability to run the ball. They can keep defenses honest with their run game. So that'll be something to watch how they use that, and their ability to get turnovers. This will be interesting to see whether the defense can get turnovers now against a Cleveland team that is good at keeping the ball in their possession. But they averaged 1.4 takeaways per game, including 1 interception and 0.4 fumbles per game. The 0.4 fumbles lines up perfectly with Cleveland's, but the 1 interception per game is twice as much as what Cleveland gave up per game on average. So that's why, yeah. But yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see whether they can force turnovers or not. Well, why would the Browns lose? Like, what are the problems that they have? What are their weaknesses? Well, one, they don't have a secondary. Okay, they got Denzel Ward. That's all fine and good. But Terrence Mitchell and Ronnie Harrison Jr. are not good. Those are the next two best players in the secondary. They're not good. Okay, and if you want stats behind it, here you go. 262.5 yards per game. That's how many yards in the air they give up. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Yeah, that's how many yards per game they gave up. In the last 3 games, they gave up 337.3 yards, just 30th in the league. The 262.5 was 25th in the league. And then versus Big Ben and the Steelers, they gave up 501 yards, which is the worst among the last games. Their secondary is going to get toasted today. It also doesn't help when you have a lot of injuries. They're kind of I got looking at this injury list. There's a few good players. OBJ, Olivier Vernon, Grant Delpit, Greedy Williams would have really helped in the secondary. And then B.J. Goodson. I think he'll play, but his label is questionable for now. I think more than likely he'll be able to play. But if he doesn't, they have no one to guard Kelsey. And even if he does, I don't know how good he can guard Kelsey. Okay. Kelsey should have an amazing game against this team, as every single Chiefs receiver should. But, yeah, those are two concerns for me. Their injuries, and they have no one to guard Kelsey. I think B.J. Goodson would be their best candidate to do that, as he actually led the team in interceptions with 2. He and Ward were tied. But yeah, Kelsey could have a historic day today. And they do fumble quite a bit. Not all those result in turnovers. Because as I said, they average 0.4 fumbles lost per game. But they do average 1.4 fumbles per game, which is tied for 23rd in the league. So if they fumble that much, maybe eventually this Chiefs defense can get on top of one. But yeah, that's why the Browns will lose. But why will the Chiefs lose? Well, all 9 of Mahomes' losses, 8 of 9 of Mahomes' losses have come against great running performances. We'll start off this year when they played the Raiders. Their 2 losses came against the Raiders and the Chargers. They had 144 yards and 135 yards respectively. So that's nothing. That's not great. But it gets worse. 2019 against the Colts, 180 yards. Against the Texans, 192 yards. Against the Titans, 225 yards. Those are their losses in 2019. In 2018, against the Chargers, 119 yards. Not horrible. Still nothing great. Against the Patriots, 173 yards. And against the Seahawks, 210 yards. Well, those are the 8 losses. The only exception was against the Rams in 2018, that amazing game where we basically saw Baker and Mahomes college game, except for in the NFL, where the Rams only had 76 yards. So nothing bad there. But Cleveland, they averaged 31 attempts per game and 147.1 yards per game. That fits up pretty well with the Kansas City's track record with losing. So, yeah, if they have a pretty good game, they have a pretty good run game, then look out, Kansas City. Might have a problem on your hands. They also don't have a great first half defense, and it's gotten worse over time. 11.7 points in the first half is what they averaged in 2020, which is 13th. It's not horrible, but when you're one of the 8 teams left, you would like to see it in the top 8. But it did get worse. 13.3 over the last 3 games, which is 21st in the league, and they gave up 24 first half points to the Chargers in their Week 17 game, which would have put them at 30th. Also, can Kansas City keep up with Cleveland's first half offense? When you look at the offenses over the first half, so in 2020, Kansas City did average more for first half total points, 15.2 to 15. But over the last 3 games, it's gotten worse. Over the last 3 games, Cleveland averaged 16 first half points compared to Kansas City's 11.7 first half points. And in the last games, Cleveland got 35 first half points and Kansas City's 14. And we all know, we remember one game for sure where Kansas City put themselves in a hole 24-0 versus Houston. They did end up coming back and winning that one, but there was also one they didn't. In 2018 versus New England, 14-0 was too big of a hole with the good defense team that New England was running, and they just chewed clock. Kansas City did get it to overtime, but yeah, the first half, they have a mixed history with first half deficits. And also, the Chiefs need to control their penalties. In 2020, they averaged 6.6 per game. That is absolutely atrocious. That put them at 29th in the league. But then in their last 3, they've gotten better, where they averaged 5.3 per game, which put them about 22nd in the league. And then their last one, they got 5 per game, which would put them about 20th, around the same spot. But still, 5 in the 20s for penalties for as good of a team as it. Like, you can't have penalties. I've said before, if you go backwards, it's harder to score. So they need to control their penalties. But what is my prediction? Well, Cleveland is. This is a kind of trendy upset pick, unless you're Stephen A. But he says the Browns are more likely to get blown out than keep it close. I disagree with him. I think this is going to be a close game. I think Cleveland chews a lot of clock. I think the Chiefs' defense is a little overrated. I think Cleveland has a nice day. It's either going to be a lower scoring one, like 24-20, or it'll be about 35-31. And out of those 2, I got to go 35-31 Kansas City. I'm not going to sit here and say Cleveland's going to win. I will say that they do have a chance to win because of their rushing offense. The only problem is their secondary. If they could have gotten that if they can get pieces in the secondary this offseason, then look out for them next year. I think as of right now, Kansas City is the better team, but I think they win 35-31. Yeah, that'll do it for this. Hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video where we go over the Saints and Buccaneers game, and I'll see you then. Adios.